Hey everyone, Sam Mackay here from Enterprise DNA. I just want to go into some budgeting insights here. Well mainly I want to go into this concept of budgeting allocation. Okay, and I'm going to show you the ultimate allocation formula, which I think you can utilize yourself if you're dealing with budgets in your own environments. Now, what are the key things to understand with any sort of budgeting analysis, right? Let's just have a quick look at my model here, okay? Your budgets are generally, not always, but generally going to be at a different granularity. Okay, what do I mean by that is that your budgets might be at, say, let's have a look here. They might be at a, say, monthly level, okay? So you've got a budget. In this particular case, I've got a budget per month, per product, okay? But your sales or your fact table might be at a daily level. Okay, and so you've got a mismatch. You've got a different granularity mismatch there. And what you need to do is you need to somehow find a way, because if you want to run some analysis where you're running a comparison, well, you've got to find a way to allocate your budgets across the higher granularity. So the higher granularity is every day, and so you need to find a way to take your monthly amounts and distribute them over into daily amounts. Now, why I feel like this is the ultimate allocation formula is because you could actually utilize this technique if you had quarterly budgets or if you had yearly budgets. It's just some slight adjustments that would be required to actually make this to work. Okay, or make this work. Okay, so let's go over it. Okay, I want to show you. So I've got I want to show you this formula first. I want to show you the end result, right? Okay, so I've got my dates here. I can move my dates around like this. And I've got my sales amount here, and then I've also got my budget allocation. Okay. Here. Now this is actually purely referenced in this particular visual here. Actually, it's got a different one in there, but that's all right. That will be fine. I'll just move this around. So I've got my daily sales. So my daily sales are variable, but my budgets are more constant, right? Because they're monthly amounts. Again, I've had to allocate them across daily amounts. But this actually represents it probably a little bit better, maybe, depending on how you want to represent it. But this is showing it from a monthly perspective, right? So how many sales are made per month versus what our budgets were per month. Okay? And we can improve this as well. Okay? Now, this is what the formula looks like, okay? So take a good look at this, okay? And think about what this is actually doing, okay? What I want to show you here is this part of the formula first, okay? Say we have a monthly amount. If we multiply that by 1 divided by 30, right? So that's sort of like an allocation algorithm. 1 divided by 30 or 31 or 29 or whatever, how many days in the month? So days in context divided by days in month, 1 divided by whatever, times the monthly budget amount. That is actually the methodology or the allocation that methodology that is going to get you your monthly budgets to every single day, right? So if you had, say, quarterly budgets, it would be 1 divided by days in quarter times the quarterly budget. That's how you're going to allocate quarterly budgets across every single day. Okay, so now it's just a matter of us building this up and getting to this point. So we start with this end in mind, and then we need to work out, okay, well, how do we get a dynamic days in context? How do we get a dynamic days in month? And then how do we allocate our monthly budgets? Okay. And what I've done here is I've built it all within variables, because I think in this particular case, a lot of these individual measures aren't really required. Like they're really, when I use variables the most is when I feel like a particular calculation is only relevant to one particular measure, right? If I feel like a measure can be branched out into multiple different things, well, then I probably wouldn't use it as a variable. I would use it as I would create that initial measure first, and then I would branch out into, say, a cumulative total or moving average or something like that. Okay, but these are so relevant to just this particular calculation, I'll put them in variables to clean it up and make it easier to understand. Okay, so let's have a look at each individual part of this particular formula. Okay, so first of all, we've got days in context. Okay, so basically what we're trying to do here is we're trying to count up how many dates are in a particular context, or how many days are in a particular context. Well, this one's pretty easy because we have an evaluation context of every single day here, right? And so if I go count rows dates, well, then it's just going to give me one day for every single row. Then I'm going to go days in month. Okay, and this is an important formula because this is a dynamic way, depending on whatever initial context we have, is to work out how many days in the month. So what I've said is count rows count rows days, very similar to this one here, but change the context of this calc. And I first remove all filters from dates, but then I return filters. That's what values enables you to do. Return filters from the month and year. So it actually gives me the very specific month and year context for whatever one I'm in. Okay, so I know that for May I'm 31 days, and for June I've got 30 days. Okay, so you know that no matter what month you are in, you are exactly going to allocate the entire monthly budget across that month, because you're not going to have a mismatch where a month has 30 days, but you're dividing it 1 by 31. Okay, so this enables you to dynamically always allocate correctly. Then the next one we need to do is we need to work out what's the next one? Hold on a second. What the current month is. Okay, what do we do? Let me just double check what I've done there. Actually, we'll skip that. We'll just go to this one here. I'll jump back to that in a second when I remember why we actually need that one. So what I've done here is I've said, okay, we'll go and work out. Actually, we don't need this one. We don't need this in this particular example. I think this is actually a carryover from a previous way I used to do this. But because of what I've done here, we don't actually need it. So what I'm going to calculate here is I want to calculate up my total budgets. This total budget formula is just a very simple sum. Okay, I'm just summing it up. But I want to sum it up based on a virtual relationship that I'm going to create. That's what TREATAS does. Okay, and so this is what this is doing here. Okay, so you see these larger amounts. These larger amounts here. Well, these are being just determined by the selections that we have in here. So I'm just looking at it. I'm only looking at a very select group of products here. So these particular products here. And this is counting up the total budgets in each of these different months. Now, what TREATAS does, and I've created, I would just do a further search for TREATAS if you're not fully aware here, but of what this does. But very quickly, very briefly, what this does is it enables me to create a relationship virtually. And the reason why we want to create it virtually here is because this is actually a mini site. This is a mini. There's many month names within the date table, same month names, and many month names within the product name. So instead of placing a many to many relationship, which I don't like, and I think I believe they create too many issues in your models that you don't want, I'm going to create this virtual relationship between these two tables in my formula, because you know that this physical relationship is going to work, right? Well, if we create a virtual relationship, now we can compare information from here and information from here by dates. Okay, so definitely check out further material on TREATAS if you want to get some clarification on that. But basically, I'm creating a virtual relationship. That's the way to think. That's the simplest way I can describe it. And then I now have the monthly amounts. Okay, and then we come to this formula here, and I have all the things that I need to actually make it work. I've got my days in context, my days in months. So 1 divided by 30 times by the monthly budget amount, which is this amount here, is going to give me my daily allocation, 8778.13. And as we go to a different month, so you see here, this is now a different amount. Okay, now why this is the ultimate way to do this is because, say you had quarterly budgets, well then all you need to do is work out how to manipulate this for quarterly. If you had yearly budgets, well then all you'd need to do is figure out a way to allocate this by year. So this number would need to be 365 or 90 or whatever parameter you think you need to actually allocate these effectively across and then be able to compare versus your daily results or the results at a higher granularity. Okay, so we've gone for a little while here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to round things off, and we can move on to some other content coming up very soon. So lots to learn from this one, right? Lots to learn, and hopefully you can get a lot. You got a lot out of this one. If you did, certainly throw the video a like. I really appreciate it as always, and don't forget to subscribe to Enterprise DNA TV. Okay, all the best.